I'm currently filming this in 2017, but you're gonna be watching it in 2018. Hey guys, it's Nathra, and today I'm going to be doing kind of a different video. It has nothing to do with like beauty or makeup or anything like that. Today I'm going to be talking about the books that I read in December 2017. This is kind of like really different for my channel because I've really been getting more into reading lately, especially during the second half of December. So I thought that I would share the books that I read with you guys because, you know, why not? Reading has become a really big part of my everyday routine, so I thought that I would share with you some of the books that I've read. And I really started getting into reading like the second half of December after school ended, you know, during winter break, you know, living it up. So without further ado, let's just get right into the video. So I read a total of 5 books during December, and I'm actually halfway done with another book. So I'm just gonna go through these books in the order that I read them. The first book that I read is One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus. The best way I can explain the plot of this book is The Breakfast Club meets murder mystery. Basically, these 5 students walk into detention one day. We have Bronwyn the Brain, Nate the Outcast, Cooper the Athlete, Addie the Homecoming Queen, and Simon the Outcast. Except Simon ends up getting murdered, and all 4 of the other kids are witnesses. So basically, this follows all of the other 4 students, and they are suspects in this murder case because Simon has a gossip blog and he was about to post something that reveals a secret about the other 4 students. So I picked this book up in Barnes & Noble because I was really intrigued by the synopsis. So I ended up giving this book a 2.5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed reading it and I flew through this book. So it was a really fast and easy book to read. I really enjoyed reading all 4 of the kids' perspectives, and I thought the premise for this book was really interesting. The reason I docked it down to 2.5 is because, first of all the perspectives seem kind of muddled. The only one that really seemed different was Nate's, but even then I just like kept getting lost in all the perspectives. Addie and Bronwyn kind of seemed like the same character, and the only similarity they actually had was that they were both girls. So I really enjoyed that I got to read all 4 perspectives, but I feel like they weren't done very well. And the biggest reason I docked this down to a 2.5 is because of the ending. I really hated the ending of this book, and it just made the entire book seem like worthless. Like the entire reading experience just kind of went to waste because of the ending. So overall, I mean, I really liked the premise of this book, which is what got me to read it in the first place, but the ending kind of ruined the entire book for me. The next book I read was A Study in Charlotte by Brittany Cavallaro, and this is kind of a retelling of Sherlock Holmes and John Watson. It's about the great-great-grandkids of Sherlock Holmes and John Watson, which are Charlotte Holmes and James Watson. So it follows Jamie Watson as he goes to boarding school and he runs into Charlotte. And at first they aren't friends, like they kind of get off on the wrong foot, but then there is a murder on campus, so they have to team up to figure out who is the murderer. The writing was amazing in this book, and I really enjoyed the characterization. Charlotte was a really unique character, and I've never read about a character quite like her. She was very dark. Like, I did not expect her character to be as dark as it actually was. And the juxtaposition between Jamie and Charlotte is really interesting to read because they're best friends, and like to see these complete polar opposites be such close friends is really interesting. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars because I really enjoyed the reading experience and I really liked the writing. And I thought the mystery itself was really complex, and I really liked that. The reason I docked it down 1 point is because it was a little bit slow at the beginning. Like, it took a little bit, like the first half mainly just focused on the 2 characters and not really the mystery. Like, the mystery occurred in like the first chapter or something, but then the rest of the first half was kind of just talking about the characters. But then the second half really picked up, and it was really interesting and really suspenseful. Overall, I really enjoyed this book and I definitely recommend it. So the next book I actually don't have a physical copy of because I gave it to my dad to read, and that is Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. I will insert a cover right here. So this book follows our main character, Asa, and the central plot point of this book is that they are trying to find this missing billionaire through his son. But the book doesn't really talk about the mystery as much as it talks about Asa as a character, because Asa suffers from OCD and anxiety, which was really, really interesting to read. Let me just take a moment. Like, this book is one of the best books I've read in a very, very long time. It's easily one of my favorite books I've ever read. It is so beautifully crafted. Like, every word means something. Every chapter means something. Like, John Green has written this book so well. I think the main reason why it's so good is because it's so real and raw, and it gives you such a realistic portrayal of anxiety and mental illness. I personally don't suffer from anxiety or OCD, but just reading this book gave me a different perspective on mental illness. And there are some books that like truly change you as a person, and this is one of those books. Like, it just gave me a whole new perspective on mental illness, and I'm so grateful for that. I truly believe that everyone should read this book. I cannot recommend it enough. So obviously I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. It is just an amazing book, and I cried multiple times while reading it because just reading about Eliza and her struggles just really resonated with me. So the next book I read was Eleanor and Park by Rowell, and I actually started reading this a while back and I never got through it. So I picked it up again because I was waiting for some of my other books to ship from Amazon. So I was like, well, I might as well just like try it again. And I kind of understand why I put it down the first time, because it's not my favorite. I gave this 3 out of 5 stars. The only reason I didn't give it like 1 star was because I really, really enjoy Rowell's writing style. I think she is an amazing writer, but this book just did not do it for me. Like, I have a lot of issues with this book, and I could honestly go into a 30-minute rant about this book and about the characters, but overall, I just like, I mean, it wasn't that bad. Like, I obviously got through it, but I kind of had to force myself to get through it. I enjoyed reading about their relationship. I think Eleanor and Park's relationship was really cute, but it was also really unrealistic. Park went from like thinking Eleanor was this really, really weird girl to like loving her like this. Like, it was so instantaneous that it was just like, whoa. And their relationship was really extreme. Like, they were ready to die for each other after like 2 weeks of knowing each other. It was just some like Romeo and Juliet level crap, you know what I mean? So I was not about that. And I was talking to my dad about this book, and he was saying that like teenagers do tend to like think in extremes, and I understand that, but I just kept forgetting that they were actually teenagers. Like, they're 16 years old in this book, and I kept feeling like they were 12. Like, they just seemed really really immature characters, and their relationship was kind of forced, I felt like. I really didn't like it. Especially the times when they got kind of intimate, I was just like, ugh, ew, like, I was cringing hardcore. But I did give it 3 out of 5 stars because I did enjoy reading parts of this book. And I really liked the ending. And although I don't particularly like Eleanor, I really enjoy her character. The characterization was very realistic, even though the relationship wasn't. Rowell can write some really realistic characters, so I really liked the characters. I just didn't really like the romance. And the last book I read in December 2017 was Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia. So this is about this girl named Eliza, and she is a creator of a famous webcomic called Monstrous Sea, and no one knows who she is, and no one really knows how famous she is. Like, her identity is anonymous when it comes to her webcomic, so no one knows that she is the actual creator except for like 2 people. And so one day there's a new boy at her school named Wallace, and she finds out that he is the biggest fanfiction writer of her webcomic Monsters Sea. So this book follows Eliza and Wallace as they kind of build a relationship, and as Wallace kind of pulls Eliza out of her shell. But it's so much more than just like the romance aspect of it. This also deals with issues such as anxiety, which Eliza has, mainly social anxiety, and also deals with like a really interesting family relationship. And I really enjoyed this book, mainly because of Eliza. She is the most relatable character I've ever read. I just really appreciate this book because Francesca Zappia does a really good job of making a realistic teen character. Like, there were so many times when I would relate so hard to what Eliza was going through and her relationship with her parents and her siblings and Wallace. I could just relate so much to a lot of the things that were in this book. I know that it seems like I'm like crushing real hardcore on Eliza. It's just so hard to find such a realistic teen character, because usually authors like either make them go overboard like in Eleanor and Park, or they make them like really dumb and make it seem like they just care about themselves and are very selfish. But I feel like this truly gives like an accurate depiction of like teenagers and like the woes that we go through as teenagers. And even though it doesn't seem like that big of a deal to adults and other people, to us it definitely feels like the entire world is against us. And I feel like this book does a really good job of depicting that. So that's why I really like this book. I don't know if I mentioned, but I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars. So that is it for today's video. Please let me know if you like this, because I want to keep doing these videos in the future, maybe like once every month. So just let me know if you guys liked it. I really enjoyed talking about books for a change because books are a huge part of my life. So yeah, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to your girl. Anyway, I will see you guys in, what is this? Peace? Hey. Anyway, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye! But I'm weak, and what's wrong with that? Boy, oh boy, I love it when I fall for that. I'm weak, and what's wrong with that? You know how it is, you know what we do. Okay, anyway, bye. Peace. Fashion model. Okay, anyway, whatever, bye.